Welcome back to my single player world. This is the 5th map I have played, and although I haven't finished the house behind me, I wanted to share with you some of the lessons I have learnt from this build. So this is my build so far, and what have I liked about it? For a start, I like the contrast between the dark slate and the acacia. I think that works well. I like the use of these blocks here, the aged slate ashlar blocks. First time I've used some of these aged blocks because it only came in 1.19, but it's great. What don't I like about it? I don't like the inside being so dark. I love the outside, but inside I find it very, very dark, and I find myself constantly seeking to lighten things, put tapestries on the wall, put in windows, put in paintings, anything to lighten it. So I think that the takeaway lesson here is I love this contrast of colours, but I find a dark stone or sand very difficult for me personally to live in. I am very, very sensitive in real life as well as in video games to light and to space. The second thing that I have learnt is don't fool yourself about what you're building. I had in mind this very pretty L-shaped building that was going to be a little temporary building, and I would build it next to this trader. I always build my first mud huts next to traders, and the idea was that it would be a temporary building until I found my permanent base. Now, as all of you know, I've had some real issues here with the temperature. But having said that, when you're building a base, don't kid yourself. As soon as you move away from dirt blocks and you start building something like this, you're building a permanent base. It's hard to move when you've built something like this, and also when you're in a particularly good area. So I think that that's a big learning point for me. If you're going to start building something that is not your dirt base, initial keep me safe overnight base, then don't kid yourself. Plan for a big base. And that leads me on to something. I love the basic design of this corner. I like the fact that we've got the little garden with the tiny pool all inset into this little L-shaped build. I really, really like that. That works extraordinarily well. However, what does not work well about this build is the fact that I had to start building out because this turned into my permanent base. So there is a complete imbalance in the size of the structure. We have the little L-shaped building that was meant to be. I then added on this massive wing here, and then I added on a massive forge over here. So basically the proportions do not go together, and it's because I was building one type of thing when I started with this L shape, and it expanded into a permanent base. So again, I think I need to know myself better and not to design something this small in future. If I was going to build something like this L shape, I should have built it sort of 3 times as wide and, just really gone to town on it. It's too small a base for my personal needs. Now, other players are brilliant. They can take a build this size, they will fit everything in, it will look fantastic. Not me. I need space, lots and lots of space. So another lesson is proportion, I think. And this proportion to me does not work. What else do I like? I picked up this tip on how to chisel planks from a build I visited in part of my best build series. I would advise you to go and have a look at that. And I do think it works nicely. It's really good. What I hadn't allowed for is that the chiseling on planks I'd seen was on a flat face. Chiseling planks round these external corners, internal corners, which I haven't done yet. External and internal here, you can see I've had to accommodate that internal corner, and I think it is too fussy a cladding for this type of build. It will work in the end, but it does take an awful lot of work. So I think, one, I like it, but two, if I'm going to do it, I need to be careful about the amount of time it's going to take and the amount of fiddling around it's going to take. And believe me, this has taken a lot of fiddling around. However, talking of chiseling, I love the way I've chiseled the supports. I love the way I've used these blocks I found in a ruin and then chiseled the supports on top. That matches beautifully. So I'm very, very happy with that. And I do like the fact that I have actually chiseled a little bit more here. And I think the front porch, instead of just having a fence, having this chiseled look is great. And over here, I think that having these chiseled supports somehow makes it look more structurally sound. It really does. So I like that. So combination of be careful about this and liking it. I think that one of the things I love most is this west face. To me, this is just fantastic. I love this look. I love the whole base there. It looks just, to me, fantastic. Let's take a photo of it. I'm really pleased with it. I've not gone for a flat face. I've cantilevered things out. I've pushed things in. And I think that having that sort of unflat structure, uneven structure, the bits that stick out, the bits that push in, the bits that have to accommodate, it all adds to the, I think, the richness of the look of this build. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like the fact that I've chiseled the edge of the balcony. It's not much, but it makes a difference when you look at it. So I'm very pleased with that aspect. It's the first time I've used these roofs, the slanted slate roofing. So I'm pleased to have learnt that, and I have learnt a lot from it, and I've enjoyed it. So I think that is good. Okay, so I think I like all that. And inside, there are certain things I do like inside. Let's pop in the front door again. I like the fact that I have finally, from Lone Wolf, learnt to separate the weed farm from the main farm. Yes, he's right, and it's better. I like my lily pond. I think that works well. I learnt to do these little piers from a build I visited, and these little tiny piers look good. I really like that. So I'm pleased with all that. So if we come around the other side, what I don't like is the fact that because I personally happen to love vistas and views, I find that although I love the look from the outside of the leaded glass panes, you can't see through them as well as the clear glass. So where I have beautiful views, or I want views, I have tended to go back to clear glass. And there's no doubt about it that looking out from here, you get a very, very obscured view. Whereas when you look out from the clear glass, you get the view. And that's particularly become apparent to me up here, where I've got, let me go up one further, sorry, this is all my chiseling here. So coming up here, yeah, see, looking out here, you just don't see. Looking out here you do. And look at this view. Who wants to obscure that? So the better the view, the less I want to obscure it. I love having big views. So what I want to do with this corner is to actually fill it in with glass. By the way, this is me making a bathroom. The beginnings of a bathroom here. So I want to just fill this with glass so that I have this view, so that I can sit in my bath and look at that gorgeous view. Who wouldn't want to do that? But of course it doesn't fit with the end of the building, and this is where I have another issue with this building, and that is that I tend, because the building wasn't conceived as a whole, I'm almost trying to fit a cottagey look, which this is, with a super modern look, which this would be. And that's why this bit is unfinished. I'm trying to force myself to compromise. I like the fact that I've got this big balcony here. That's unfinished. That's okay. I love the wallpaper, but then I had that in my previous house. I love the way these blocks match, and these aged polish rocks. They look gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And coming down here, I love this balcony. It is absolutely the right height to see all these mechanisms, and those of you who have followed me for some time will know that I just adore these mechanisms in Vintage Story. I think they're fantastic. When we first got these wooden mechanisms, and I remember when they first came in, it was so good, and I've always loved that, so I like that a lot. And this build is too small. I've not got enough rooms for what I want to do. It seems extraordinary, doesn't it? And you can see I'm going to glass roofs because I like light over my forge. So it's always amazing when you have a build. And this, I build organically. I really build organically. I love the design of this forge. I like these strong vertical windows. Love it. Absolutely love it. So I think that my summary of this building is that although I build organically, I made a mistake by thinking that a small L-shaped building, a temporary building, would be fine. It won't be. And this is an excellent position here because I have access to so many things that you need, like metals. I have a constant supply of hyenas for hide and fat. Because it's not a winter place, I can grow crops all the way around. Most trees will grow here. You know, this is a really good site. But looking at it, because I don't like taking native forest down, and because this side goes too far towards the hyenas and the desert, it's actually quite a limited site in my view. A very limited site. I should have built further out this way, I think, instead of trying to cram the whole building between the trader here. I mean, yes, I could wrap it around the trader, I know that, and the forest over there. I think I need to make sure that in future I give myself a bigger site. And the other mistake I think I've made is that I need to be up by 1. The floor is level with the outside, which in some ways is good, but just having that elevation of 1 would have made it a better build. So I'm here critiquing my own build and telling you all the mistakes I have made. However, some things I have done extremely well in it, and it's a build that I am proud of because I have learnt so much in doing it. Now, let me just pop downstairs. The other side of I'm very happy with is that I had the sense to leave all this gorgeous stone and use this as my underneath place, because this is really, really good. When it's dark outside and you want to work in here, this is a light, bright space. And the other thing I do like that I've done here, which I will do in future, is to have a long wall with all the tools labelled. If you have just random tool racks, you tend to get very confused as to what you're doing. This was a godsend, this long wall. I hadn't planned it. It happened by accident, but I like it a lot. I also like the fact that we can take the view through here. Again, it's all about the feeling of space and views with me. So the fact that I can look through there, I think is fabulous. The fact that I get long views here is fabulous. So I like all that. So this build is a combination of, to me, a really gorgeous cottagey look here, an almost cathedral-like quality in here, and then a very uneasy linkage of the two in this middle bit. Very uneasy indeed. It's neither cottagey nor super modern nor sort of middle of the road like this. So all in all, it's been a very, very interesting build for me, and trying out different things and learning what I like and what I don't like has been fantastic. So all in all, this is where I am with this build. Now, I'm sure you're all saying, well, why are you doing this video at the moment? Why are you critiquing this build when it's not finished? The answer is I'm going to finish this build, and I will somehow get this uneasy mishmash of styles to work. It's not the first time I've had an oddity in styles, and it won't be the last. I think this is the most mishmash I've ever made. The most contradictory in styles that I've ever made in a building. And I think what I have to do is to force myself away from the fact I want huge views at the end and just make it into a decent building, and not try to have one corner modern, the bottom bit cottagey and the middle bit intermediate. So why am I critiquing it? Because this world might not exist if I'm not careful. I want to try out some 1.20 aspects. The next update, 1.20, is absolutely vast. Now, I'm going to use an existing world. People have been advised not to use a new world for it yet. It's very early days for what is an enormous change. For me, it's going to be like learning a new world. There are things in it I've never seen before. It's going to be like learning a new game, not a new world. And this world may crash and disappear forever. So I thought that before it crashed and burned, I would have a good critique of the place and really force myself to face what errors I've made in this building and what I have done beautifully. So this building to me is a combination of excellent and slightly iffy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a like, consider subscribing to me, and my next video will be called Sacrificing My World. Bye bye, my friends.